Hello, everybody. Gengala Tunji here. Today, we shall be looking at the regulatory environment. The regulatory environment. And under this topic, we shall be looking at the need for regulation. Why is the accountancy and auditing environment regulated? And who regulates the industry? The role of NSA, Nigerian Standard on Auditing, ISA, International Standard on Auditing, IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, under which we have IASB, also our local regulator and mother body, ICAN, and the national regulator, FRC, Federal Reporting Council. We are going to examine their roles in this tutorial. Also, we will discuss communication between the auditor and the people sided with governance in the organization. We are going to examine who an expert is, who is an auditor's expert, who is management expert, and how can auditor put reliance on these experts' work shall be examined. The meaning and nature of governance in a company or organization shall be examined. What is governance? What is the nature of governance and the like? The director's responsibilities of the directors shall be examined. Also, we shall examine auditor's responsibility too. The responsibility of the auditor shall be examined also. Then we will move on to audit committee. What are the roles of audit committee? The composition of audit committee. Then we will discuss the expectation gap. What is expectation gap? How can we mitigate or close the expectation gap? And who are responsible for the closure of the expectation gap shall be examined. Then we'll move on to the responsibility of the auditor as to fraud, as to errors, and the like. And we will cap it all with professional skepticism. What is professional skepticism and how should auditor behave? These are the jugglers that we shall be examining today. So let us go into our slide straight away. What is regulation? What is regulation when we are talking about the regulatory environment? So what is regulation? Regulation is a guide, and we can say a regulator is a guardian. So regulation is in place to assist in guiding an environment or a workflow or a job flow. So that is what we can say a regulation is. So when we are now talking about being in a regulated environment like accountancy world, like that of the auditing, we are talking about how we ensure that the practitioner conform with at least minimum standard expected within the industry. The need for regulation of audit and assurance services. So why do we need to be regulated? After all, we are professionals. So why do we still need to regulate ourselves? We need to regulate primarily because Practitioner accountants are custodian of public interest, monetarily and otherwise. Trust is entrusted to us. We could use that word in the real sense of it. We are public, we have public interests at our disposal to defend continually. And because of this, we must be regulated. That is, ensure that everyone perform within the same behavioral pattern, same work ethics to a certain degree and the like. And these are some of the reasons we need to regulate. So to protect the public interest and to ensure that auditors and accounting practitioners work within ethical boundaries, to know what is expected of us in what situation and circumstance. So these are some of the reasons we are regulated. To ensure we all conform to a standard of professional operations. That is another reason. To ensure legal aspects of our work are not overlooked. That is, we are not majoring on minors and we are not minoring on majors. So that everyone will know, okay, in this regards, what are the suitable criteria that are needed and are required to perform to a suitable standard when it comes to this aspect of work. Also, to harmonize us as a people, as a body of knowledge, to harmonize us as accountants, to harmonize our work, to harmonize our industry, to harmonize the firm of chartered accountants operations. We need to be regulated, and these are some of the reasons we are regulated. So to protect the public interest in the exam, please let this one be your first answer. To protect public interest, we are custodian of public interest. To ensure that we conform to professional ethical standard, to harmonize us, and to ensure that aspects of work are not overlooked are some of the major reasons we are regulated. So who sets the standard? Who regulates the industry? On the local level, in Nigeria, for example, Financial Reporting Council has the responsibility to regulate us. Why on the international level, IFAC has the responsibility. So on the local level, the Nigerian Standard on Auditing, which we now know under the umbrella of FRC, is to regulate us. And IFAC will be using the subcommittee of IASB to form regulation. How is standard being set? What are the processes of setting standard? If standards are to be set, it must follow certain processes. If standards are to be set, it must follow certain patterns. And basically, standards could be of two forms. It could be a completely new standard, or it could be an improved upon standard. Let's take the first scenario. A new standard being set is a form of standard in which what is coming out to address had never been in existence before. every standard come out to address an issue. So therefore, when we are having a new standard, it simply means that a new issue is being discovered in the industry and we need standard around that area. The processes are almost the same as that of if were to be an improved upon standard. That is, we have standard before, but we could see that the standard setter could see that, okay, it seems that the industry had outgrown this standard and they want to modify it or improve upon it. Almost the same processes will be involved. But let's take that first example. A new standard observe first of all that, okay, there is a new trend in which no standard had addressed. So the standard setter, step one, go into their meeting hall and propose, brainstorm, gather relevant information about the new trend, and formulate a proposed regulation in the industry. And after that, they proceed to the next stage, which we call exposure draft. That is, they are exposing their proposal to the world or the interested party that that standard will concern. And after they've exposed it to the society, they will allow for some time so that the concerned individuals, organization will respond to the proposal. They will comment, criticize it, say it's okay in some area. They can say, okay, let's implementation be moved forward and things like that. Then the standard setter gather the responses and go back to the drawing board and fix necessary aspects that people have concern about into the next draft. After that, they re-expose it. The exposure stage can be as many as possible until at least majority of the concerned party are okay with it. Then they pass it on to the relevant authority for consent and signature, and immediately is consented to, it becomes a binding law. Just like in year 2020, federal government of Nigeria consented to a new finance act. Before, it was a bill. So when we are talking about the exposure stages, it's at the stage of bill, but it becomes law or an act of parliament, as the case may be, when the necessary person that's supposed to sign it into law signs it into law. The same goes for the second scenario. If we were to be an improved upon area of standard to be set, they formulate and propose. Then they send the proposal out to the public for criticism, comment, and dialogue. Then they gather it, that draft, and the information, the comments of the people, and review it again. And after they've done it again, fix irrelevant criticism that they know that's genuine and like, they re-expose it to the world again and again until relevant parties are a bit okay with it. Then it will be consented to. It becomes binding or an act, and it becomes a law. So this is the stages that standard we always pass through. It will pass through the proposal, the draft, exposure, re-exposure, and until it's finally consented to.